Hey UConn Nation, it's KK Arnold here. If you're looking for the latest UConn women's basketball content, go subscribe to Listen Up to Phil and Ryan. Go Huskies!
Phil and Ryan back on Listen Up. Ryan, that's the perfect way, right? Perfect way to leave the islands and head back to UConn for a nice week off. Ryan, the UConn Huskies come away with a 71-63 win in the Cayman Islands Classic. So they split the two-game series. And Ryan, I know you have a lot to say. I'll turn it right on over to you. I'm telling everyone this, we finally have Ryan doing a game recap for a change. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. Ryan, as everyone I'm sure has, your game recaps are unlike any other. Huskies moved to 4-2 on the young season, kind of still young. And Kansas Jayhawks fall to 2-3. Ryan, I know another slow start. I'm not being negative in any way. A win is a win, right? But this is
Yeah,
still not UConn women's basketball, to say the least. But on a positive note, Ryan, before you get into your game recap, I strongly believe that there is a lot of better basketball coming in the basketball capital of the world from these young ladies. I believe go back again to that game against Maryland, Ryan. So let's see what you have to say.
yeah, I hope so. I hope there's definitely some more good basketball coming, and hopefully there can be some slight improvements as we progress towards the season. But Ashlyn Shade makes her first career start tonight for the UConn Huskies. Also, Aubrey Griffin stayed in the starting five for Caroline Ducharme, who was still out tonight. Ashlyn started us off right off the gates, the first bucket of the game. UConn also right off the bat, more urgency, it seemed like, from their offense. Aaliyah was more aggressive driving to the basket. Paige picked up back-to-back fouls, had to come out. KK Arnold subbed in for her. We actually saw all three freshmen, of course, including Ashlyn Shade, who was the fourth, who started the game. All three freshmen checked into the game in the first quarter. You could see KK Arnold's impact right away. UConn went on an 11-2 run to end the first to put them up by 8 points over the Kansas Jayhawks. Tough sledding in the second quarter for both teams. Huskies had 4 turnovers in 4 minutes. Couldn't really make the couple easy looks that they did have. It was a good thing UConn was playing aggressive defense and rebounding the ball for the most part in the first half, not really allowing Kansas to get any looks. Paige only played 7 minutes because of her 2 fouls. Uh, that was, I think, part of the reason why UConn really struggled in that first half. I didn't really want to say it, but unfortunately, I think UConn kind of needs Paige Bueckers for their offense to get running. That's definitely what it seemed like in the first half because they were struggling so much. It just seemed like nobody really wanted to ball to get the ball. It seemed like they were stuck, not really knowing what to do on offense. You could tell that Gino was really frustrated too. I think at one point he went to the side of the bench and took his glasses off and was just standing there. So overall, a really frustrating first half for UConn. But despite all of those negatives, they somehow managed to still have a 25-20 point lead going into the half. And also, I want to mention Aubrey started the game pretty well, got subbed off, subbed back in, and just also couldn't seem to get any looks after that. But we move on to the third quarter. Unfortunately, things didn't really get a lot better in the third quarter. Paige converted a 3-point play, and that was really it for the first 5 minutes. And with about 3.5 minutes left, UConn finally woke up, it seemed like, for the first time since the start of the game. Aubrey had back-to-back 3-point plays. One of them was a rebound and a putback. Paige got a steal and score, and then finally made UConn's first three-pointer of the game. Ice Brady also made a basket as well. And that's what it takes sometimes, is just one player or just one play to spark something for this UConn team on offense, and just someone to be the energizer for this team so that all the Huskies can kind of feed off of that. Paige ended the quarter with another three, putting UConn back up by 8 points. UConn was able to hold on for the 71-63 win. But like I said, it was really a struggle for most of the night. Aubrey Griffin, Paige Bueckers were really the anchors for UConn. Cadence made a couple of baskets there in the fourth quarter. KK didn't do too bad off the bench. Ashlyn Shade, I'd say she was had a pretty good night given her first career start. I'd say UConn definitely gets the much needed week off before their game next Sunday against Texas. So hopefully, possibly Caroline or Ayana can be healthy for that game. I think that would help this team a lot to get a little bit more healthy, but definitely the needed rest week before a big Texas game.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Ryan, for the game recap. I appreciate that a lot more than you know. Just a couple of things I wanted to bring up to you before we get into comments, and then we will enjoy this extended week off, right? We try to get a couple videos out. Actually, one before the last check-in, maybe to grade the overall November month, how the UConn Huskies fared in November, rather. So, because obviously last game of November, and then they won't hit the court again until next Sunday, Ryan. With that said, let's enjoy this win. All right, let's enjoy the win, but I won't even tell you who we have coming up on the schedule next Sunday. I'm sure everyone knows by now. Again, my 2 cents, my take is it could read, and again, we'll get more into this talk into the last check-in later on next week, but it could really get really ugly, or it could be really nice. That's what I'm starting to see, is especially when it comes to, again, your ranked teams. And my goodness, only knows about what it's going to look like against our conference teams, that is. But again, what I'm starting to see is it could really, it could turn really ugly very quickly, or it could, Ryan, it could come down to and especially now with the Huskies still trying to figure things out, like we've been seeing. I mean, since that Maryland game, it's kind of slowed down. I think that it's, especially against ranked opponents, I think that it's great and amazing if the game comes down to the last couple of minutes in the fourth quarter. You know what I mean? Whether the Huskies are down by 2 or 3 or winning by 2 or 3, to me, that's a major jump as to what we have been seeing. Because again, these slow starts in the first and second quarters, I don't know about you, but they are really concerning me a lot. And I'm sure that you and I are not the only two. Ryan, I wanted to get into conversation very quickly. 2 big things. What is this week off? What are you looking at Gino and company to work on, or what does this do as far as, we have AZ Fudd out for the season. So I thank goodness not a lot of injuries where you say, well, maybe they'll come back, these injured players, and they'll take some time off and rest. There's not a lot of injuries, thank goodness. So what are you looking for other than, I guess, rest this week off? And then I guess your take on Aaliyah Edwards. She is, I don't know. Again, I love Aaliyah Edwards. The whole UConn nation loves Aaliyah Edwards. Kind of a slow start, if you will. I really think that it'll give this, not only her, now that she's not saying that she needs confidence, but I think it'll give the whole team a boost, obviously, if she can produce more down in the paint. And again, it would help if we start seeing Amari DeBerry down there with her. Ice Brady, of course. So again, I just Aubrey Griffin again has stepped up nicely. Nika Mule continues her assist pace, a very good pace with assist. But again, it's again, I don't know. I don't know about Aaliyah Edwards at this point in this young season still.
Yeah, Aubrey Griffin definitely wanted to mention that season high 20 points tonight. UConn definitely needed her tonight, and she stepped up in a big way. And I think that's something going off of that headed into this a miniature bye week. I guess UConn gets a week off. I think that's something I'm looking forward to, hopefully, for the rest of the season. Now, Aubrey Griffin, my X Factor pick, hopefully she is really an X Factor for the rest of the season. I think she deserves to stay in the starting lineup. she does so many good things for this UConn team. I think definitely the kind of the anchor on defense. I really like her aggressiveness going to the lane, or even being aggressive rebounding the ball. And I think as far as Aaliyah Edwards goes, looking here tonight, only 11 3-point attempts from the UConn Huskies. Gino said after the Minnesota game he wants at least 25 3-point attempts. So nowhere near close to the amount of 3-point shots that UConn should be attempting.
That's another thing I was going to bring up to you very quickly, because we have to head on out of here very soon. Yeah, just as far as the 3-point attempts are all, not even, it starts by, obviously, this is common sense. It starts by Ryan attempting 3-point shots, right? And then seeing if they fall. But I mean, my goodness. I mean, I'm the lack of 3-point, not 3 points made, but the lack of 3-point attempts. That's something that could be worked on this week off, is it not?
And you can say, well, UConn doesn't have AZ Fudd. They don't have Caroline Ducharme. Yeah, that might be part of it. But I think it would help Aaliyah Edwards out a lot as well if UConn would try to push the ball outside and take more 3-point attempts.
Extend the floor.
So, yeah. I think that's something they need to work on throughout this week as well in practice, is getting more offensive plays set up, because at times it just feels like the ball is stuck. The players don't really know what to do. So hopefully they can work on setting some more things up on offense, which usually UConn doesn't really struggle with. But I think if we get the ball pushed out to the outside more, taking more 3-point attempts, I think that'll open the paint up a little bit more for Aaliyah Edwards to kind of allow her to work inside the paint and get her points. But I think, this bye week, this week off can really help UConn a lot, and hopefully they can get a little more healthy as well.
Well, Paige Bueckers must have heard you, Ryan, because according to this post, Paige Bueckers on Aubrey Griffin via the broadcast, we're a much better team when she's aggressive. She's a huge piece of our team that I don't think she gets enough credit for. And again, Ryan, that's on Aubrey Griffin. Let's go ahead and get down into comments, Ryan, and then we will head on out of here so you can enjoy your Saturday night. Ed Adam Edmonds goes, I agree with Phil about Amari. I think her defensive performance in this game was underrated. I was really proud of her performance. Cadence needs to see more floor time, but Gino is so big on defense, and as soon as she got in the game, she missed a 3 and then immediately messed up her defensive assignment. I don't think she ever came back in. She needs to get her head in the game on defense, but she can be great, especially with the absence of Fudd and Ducharme. And again, Ryan, this is comments from the UCLA earns first ever win over UConn video.
And having Cadence on the floor, she did play a little bit tonight. I still think she could get more minutes than what she received in that UCLA game and tonight as well. And having Cadence Samuels on the floor, that's going to increase the 3-point shot attempts as well. She made another one tonight. That's her only 3 points. I believe that was her only 3 points as well last night. But as far as Amari goes, she didn't really see a lot of playing time tonight. A little disappointed by that. But it just still seems like something's really not right there with Amari, but didn't really get a lot of opportunities tonight. It almost seems like Gino really isn't comfortable still playing her on the floor or giving her a lot of minutes. But I think it would definitely help UConn's inside game if Amari does get an opportunity to play more minutes.
Jason D'Amico, our good friend Jason, we hope he's doing well. First, hard to stop anyone that shoots 74% from 3. Gino definitely had the wrong lineup in, and then he decided to go with the same lineup in the second half. Why? Paige should be point. Nika is not at Paige's level, not even close. At this point, Nika should not be starting. We need shooters, and Nika just can't produce. Peace.
It's definitely an interesting take, and it's never really been Nika's game. I think that's something as well that I wanted to mention. I'm glad Jason kind of mentioned Nika there. I feel like Nika Mule, we had that video about her new role this season. I think we kind of didn't expect it to change that much, but it actually has with Paige Bueckers back on the court. I think Nika's still playing pretty good basketball, but it seems like she's not kind of at the level she left off at last season. So hopefully she can pick it up a little bit. I think UConn definitely needs her productivity. I kind of do wish she was more aggressive driving to the lane. She did it a couple of times tonight and scored off of the attempts that she was driving to the basket. So I wish Nika was a little more aggressive. So like Jason said, she could up those point of shot, those field goals attempted. Because I think, UConn can definitely use more aggressiveness for their offense out of Nika Mule.
New face, Ryan, that I haven't seen. We appreciate this person coming through at user BL6DM. She goes, I've been a UConn fan forever, and yes, I'm old. It's time for the coaches to look in the mirror. No more injury excuses. This team is loaded with talent. The coaches have the players and need to think about less passing and give them the mindset that they can all score. The players are score shy. They are afraid to miss a shot, so they choose to pass instead. They pass to Paige to generate offense all the time. It shows incredible insecurity about the coaches and all the players. Edwards needs more bigs down low to help her to think score. The three-point shot has disappeared. We have the players and we have the coaches. Let's turn this around. Yeah, that's the mindset, Ryan. Let's turn this around, Ryan, starting tomorrow, Sunday morning.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that because I feel like it's sometimes UConn, the players on the floor, nobody really wants to score the ball. And when Paige is on the floor, I feel like they pass it to her to kind of get the offense going, which is fine. But I do agree with that everybody on the floor for UConn can definitely score and is definitely capable. And I wish, the players could be a little bit more aggressive because, like I said, all it takes is kind of one play or one player to kind of spark things and just kind of get the offense rolling. So I definitely want to see in the game leading up to Texas, UConn being more aggressive and someone kind of leading the charge besides Paige Bueckers at sometimes on the court.
And let's tip our hats, right? Hats off to this Kansas Jayhawks team tonight, Ryan. I mean, they were not a pushover. This is a really good basketball team. And for a while, I thought that we were looking at a possible another loss. But again, the UConn Huskies pull away thanks to Paige Bueckers and company. Final score again, 71-63. Ryan, turnaround or growth, it's getting your people focused on the goal. That is still the job of leadership. Let's see if all of these young ladies on this UConn women's basketball team can all be leaders. And Ryan, I have a favor to ask you. Can you lead me into this new week? Keep me on my A game. Phil and Rye or listen up.